Edinburgh's first and only 100% vegan grocery shop. I'm just putting out some samples here, which you're going to have to fight over in the end because I didn't bring enough for everybody. And I'll tell you what these are actually later on. So you'll have to excuse me, I'm using my phone rather than paper today, trying to save a bit of paper since it's an environmental talk. So yeah, Easter Greens is a vegan grocery shop, 100% plant-based groceries, and it's the first and only one in Edinburgh. It's at the top of Easter Road next to Iceland. Today I've got a pretty bold claim to make. Eating a vegan diet could be the single biggest way to reduce your environmental impact on Earth. Curious? Well, listen up and I'll try and explain. So if you think about this, well, the world's population has doubled since the 1960s. World meat production has quadrupled. In certain areas, livestock production has increased massively. So since 1961, beef production has more than doubled. There are now 4.5 times as many tons of pig produced, and world chicken production has increased nearly 13 times. And this continues to grow. The Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations predicts that by the year 2050, world meat production will have almost doubled again. So why should we be so worried by this massive growth in the animal agricultural industry? Well, there are several reasons. Greenhouse gas emissions, and then the impact on our natural resources, in particular our use of fresh water, the amount of land that is used, and the impact on our oceans. Animal agriculture is a leading generation of greenhouse gas emissions, including methane and nitrous oxide. It's responsible for 60% of all agricultural's greenhouse gas emissions, while the products themselves just 18% of calories and 13% of protein levels around the world. If you're good at maths or maybe economics, you'll probably realise that this is unsustainable. Recently, researchers at the University of Oxford found that cutting meat and dairy products from your diet could reduce an individual's carbon footprint from food by up to 73%. Not only would this result in a significant drop in greenhouse gas emissions, it would also free up wild land lost to agriculture, one of the primary causes for the mass wildlife extinction. And the water requirements. So according to a recent report from the UN, the world will have only 60% of the water it needs by 2030 without significant global policy change. This situation is only predicted to worsen as our population expands and consumption per capita increases, with more and more people adopting resource-intensive Western meat-eating habits. Although statistics vary, it is safe to say that it takes at least 3 times the amount of water to feed the typical meat eater compared with that used to feed a vegan. So for example, it takes 15,500 litres of water to produce just 1 kilogram of beef, contrasted with only 180 litres for 1 kilogram of tomatoes and 250 litres for 1 kilogram of potatoes. So you can see that consuming animal products is incredibly resource intensive. Globally, farming uses about 70% of the planet's accessible fresh water. This is compared to around 20% for industry and about 10% for domestic use. So changing what we eat is the single thing which will have the biggest impact on the amount of water that we use. Now, I'm a realist, so this claim that I'm about to make, or this question that I'm about to ask, is not something that I expect to happen overnight. But just think, what would happen if everyone went vegan? Well, several things would happen. First thing, we could save our seas. There's no denying it that the oceans are struggling. Some experts have said that the world's oceans could be empty of fish by 2048. Most people are avoiding single-use plastic like straws due to their longevity and consequent impact on animals and the ocean. However, half of the plastic found in the ocean actually comes from fishing nets, not straws. Even meat sourced from land animals could be hurting the ocean. The widespread application of pesticides, herbicides and fertilizers used to produce feed crops can enter and pollute waterways, and that feeds into the ocean. The runoff from factory farms and livestock grazing is a major contributor to the pollution of rivers and lakes. 70 to 90% of freshwater pollution in Western countries is linked to animal agriculture. What else could happen if everyone went vegan? Well, we'd have more land. That University Oxford study that I mentioned earlier, they said that it is found that 80% of the planet's total farmland is used to rear livestock. Beef production requires 36 times more land than the production of plant-based proteins like peas. The researchers stated that if everyone went vegan, global farmland use would drop by 75%. So to put that in perspective, this decline would free up land mass the size of Australia, China, the EU, and the US combined. What else would happen if everyone went vegan? Well, we'd waste less water. I've already talked about this, but here are some more figures. A report published by the Institution of Mechanical Engineers stated that more than 15,000 litres of water are required to produce 1 kilogram of beef. Said that one already. But it takes more than 10,000 litres to produce 1 kilogram of mutton and more than 5,000 to produce pork. The water requirements of plant-based foods are generally much lower. So to produce 1 kilogram of potatoes, for example, it's just 287 litres of water. Banana, 790. Cabbage, 237. And tomatoes, just 214. Research by the European Commission Joint Research Centre, which is the most detailed study on the impact of nationwide food consumption on water footprints, uncovered that plant-based food carries the smallest water footprint. So in fact, a vegan diet uses 5 times less water than a meat-based diet. What else would happen if everyone went vegan? Well, the species could be saved. Not this species, but many species could be saved. So it's not just the animals we eat that suffer at the hands of the meat, dairy and egg industries. Wild animal populations are struggling more than ever before. A review published in the journal Science said that species extinction rates are up to 1,000 times higher than before humans existed. According to The Guardian, the chief cause of the mass extinction of wildlife is habitat destruction caused by the agriculture sector. So wild animals, including wolves, horses, mountain lions, kangaroos, owls, foxes, koalas, otters and more, are harmed and often killed when land is cleared to make room for the animals raised for human consumption. In the fishing industry, billions of marine animals, including endangered fish, whales, sea turtles, dolphins and seals, are caught and killed unintentionally. These animals are known as bycatch, and according to a report released by Oceana, they make up 40% of the world's total catch, and that equates to 28.5 million tonnes a year. Other research estimates that wild animals make up just 4% of life on Earth, with livestock accounting for 60% of all life. The study blamed the human race for causing the loss of 83% of all wild animals and 50% of all plants. So, was it a bold claim to state that eating a vegan diet could be the single biggest way to reduce your environmental impact on this earth? Well, there's plenty of data and research out there. You can look it up on the internet. There's also some really great documentaries. I highly recommend one called Cowspiracy, which you'll find on Netflix. I encourage you to take a look at these. If you decide that reducing your consumption of meat and dairy is something that you want to do, or even go fully vegan, well, the good news is that Edinburgh has a 100% fully vegan shop. Located at the top of Easter Road next to Iceland, and there you'll find out how easy it is to actually follow a vegan diet. We have over 1,000 products in the shop, including things such as loose fruit and vegetables, so that unlike supermarkets are not wrapped in plastic packaging. We have alternatives for meat and cheese, milk and other dairy products. We have meat alternatives, including the famous Scottish Lorne sausage, bacon and even salmon fillets. All your kitchen cupboard essentials like pasta, rice, tins of beans, a wide range of snacks, chocolate crisps, even chocolate brownies, all the really good stuff. We also stock toiletries and refillable cleaning products, which are free of animal products and not tested on animals. I've actually brought along here some of the soaps, shampoos and conditioner bars that we sell in the shop. So first come, first served. They're free for you to take away today. They're not wrapped in plastic. They are free of parabens. They're not tested on animals. No animal products in them. They're made with natural essential oils. So first come, first served. We're open 7 days a week. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Google. So again, Easter Greens. It's a vegan grocery shop at the top of Easter Road, next to Iceland. Thank you very much.